welcome viewers. The focus on the show today is cricket in a way because again we talk about cricket, we talk about the fitness levels of athletes, but the one thing that's ignored is the risk that it carries. Now, you might have all heard about Bangladesh batsman Tamim Iqbal, whose heart attack has sent shockwaves across the cricketing world. A fit professional athlete collapsing on the field is a stark reminder that heart disease isn't just an old age problem anymore. Young, active individuals are also at risk, and it's happening more often than we realize. And it's happening a lot in India. Genetics also play a very important role. We did a bit of research and found that Tamim's father also suffered a fatal heart attack. Again, it's not all about genetics. Lifestyle choices, chronic stress, poor diet, even undiagnosed conditions can be silent killers. The rise in cases among young professionals, athletes, and even students raises a very crucial, important question. Are we really paying enough attention to our heart health? Tamim, in fact, first had a mild ache. He had some discomfort. He thought of it as a gastric issue. He got some treatment done and returned to the field before the condition worsened so much so that he had to be put on life support in a matter of minutes. Ignoring symptoms, viewers, like chest discomfort, fatigue, shortness of breath can actually have fatal consequences. Regular checkups, balanced lifestyle, and stress management are no longer optional, they are essential. In fact, Tamim's care is a wake up call. Are we really listening to our heart, or are we waiting until it's too late? That's, of course, the big question on the show today. Joining us right now, Rhitika Sharma, nutrition consultant, Dr. Samir Pagad, who's a senior consultant cardiologist, and Nikhil Chandwani, who's an author. Rhitika ji, starting with you now. One of the important questions here that's asked often is that a lot of people confuse fitness and a healthy person. Help us understand how being fit and looking fit doesn't necessarily mean that a person is healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Being fit is very different from being healthy. Now, when I also confront my patients, so I also make them understand that being fit means that if you are able to climb a flight of stairs and you are not breathless, if you are able to walk for a mile and you're not palpitating, that is being healthy. If you're sitting idle and you start having hot flushes, that does not mean that fit or you're healthy. You need to understand that your body is giving you signs and you need to listen to those signs.
Absolutely. All right. Dr. Samir Pagad, now, again, I'll just, go through the sequence of events that occurred. So, we were told that Tamim Iqbal initially had some sort of a discomfort. He thought that it was a gastric issue. He went to the doctor. There was an initial treatment done as well. He felt better. He came back onto the field, and that is when his condition worsened. Dr. Samir, how do you think this issue was not diagnosed initially? How is it that an early warning was not just missed by the cricketer but also the medical staff?
So the symptoms of a heart attack and a gastric problem always usually overlap with each other. So many a times what we think as a gastric
Okay.
problem turns out to be a heart attack at a later stage in retrospect. So whenever you have risk factors, may it be the traditional risk factors like blood pressure, diabetes, smoking, or in his case, Tamim's case, where he had a very strong family history of a heart attack for about his father. So if you have such strong family histories, whenever you get any kind of a chest discomfort, it should not be neglected and taken away as a gastric problem. It needs to be investigated in a much more detailed way. A simple ECG is all you need to detect a heart attack today. So if that could have been done at that time, then we could have picked it up even faster. But having said that, most people or most patients for that matter always try and ignore the initial symptoms, and that is where the crucial time or the golden hour is lost. So
Right.
especially maybe
Nikhil,
in
again,
patients who
you
have.
have been in touch with. Right, right. Dr. Samir, go ahead.
Go ahead. So, especially in cases where patients have these risk factors, it is important for them to be educated about these signs and symptoms of a heart attack so that they don't neglect it when they actually face these symptoms.
Right. Dr. Samir, when you say signs and symptoms, what are these signs and symptoms? Because usually one thinks of a chest discomfort numbness in the hands or the legs, something like that as a early warning sign. If you can just
So,
elaborate more on these early warning signs that one can actually pick, and how early are these?
so heart attacks, usually you should understand a basic concept about a heart attack. Heart attack happens when the blood supply to a portion of the heart is completely stopped or occluded. So that is when a patient gets a heart attack. So the
Okay.
earliest sign of a heart attack would be some kind of a chest discomfort. It would be uneasiness in the chest area. There would be a mild sweat or some kind of a perspiration would be there. The chest uneasiness is usually or classically described as a heaviness on the heart. There is a heavy object lying on the heart or a vice like sensation on the chest. Breathlessness could be there, some amount of
Okay.
palpitations could be there. So these are the commonest signs when a patient gets a heart attack. When these happen, try not to neglect them, especially if these last for more than 5 to 10 minutes. Definitely some action needs to be taken.
All right. All right, Dr. Samir, interesting that you talk about all of these issues there. And also, Nikhil, I was coming to you now. Over the past few years, we've seen how a lot of younger population actually suffers through heart attack. There was a very popular conspiracy theory, I'm sure you came across that as well, about how COVID vaccines probably caused it. The ICMR has come out and categorically denied it, saying that there is absolutely no link between a COVID vaccine and young people having heart attacks. Nikhil, in your view, what exactly is causing this sort of a, in a way, epidemic? You look at the number of younger people that actually have heart attacks, it's very alarming.
Absolutely. So I might sound like a stubborn uncle right now, but Ashish, people are focusing a lot on calories, muscle strength, weight loss, and they are not focusing enough on gut health and flexibility. And true health, I feel, Ashish, is achieved when
Hmm.
you have a body that is balanced in strength, agility, and flexibility. It doesn't necessarily come from avocado smoothies and doing 100 reps at the gym. It comes from a overall holistic health, which includes uninterrupted 8 hours of sleep. People are taking sleep for granted. A
Right.
strong stomach that absorbs the right nutrients, eating local and seasonal stuff, balanced workout, you don't have to go extremes, and eating everything in moderation. Focusing on immunity as much as calories is also extremely important, and understanding your genes better, as you rightly said, by looking at your parents' health parameters and using the prevention is better than cure wala method. Don't buy. I am very active on Instagram and I see a lot of influencers selling random stuff. So people need to understand this one thing, that they should not buy what influencers are selling without doing a throughout study of the ingredients for any product that you want to buy, be it protein powder, skincare products, supplement, collagen, anything. Only you should know that, only you know that what suits you and what suits your body the best. So it is extremely important to listen to your body, get periodic blood tests done. It is also extremely important, and you need to know that not just the general blood tests are important. It should include HB1AC, it should include hormonal reproductive parameters. Inflammation markers like CRP and ESR are also extremely important. So if these are the little things that people are following, I am 100% sure that their heart will be healthy and it won't be an epidemic anymore.
All right. And Ritika Sharma, again, coming back to the diet now, is there a particular reason? Is there something in our diet which is why South Asians, in fact, are much more prone to such heart attacks? We see a lot of these cases in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the food, of course, is also very similar. Do you think it has something to do with the kind of diet that we have in our everyday lives?
See, as far as diet is concerned, we are not cautious, what I can say. As rightly said, we are constantly scrolling out on reels. We are constantly looking at influencers, suggesting us what to take, what not to take, and people are just following them blindly. They go for supplements, they go for protein supplements, they go for collagen without even understanding that what actually can happen after taking it, and not keeping a right diet along with it. Now, it is very important that if you are taking such supplements or if you are going on some special diet, it is very important to have a proper healthy diet throughout your day. It doesn't mean that having a supplement can actually do wonders to your body if you're not having good amount of food. So having a good amount of food, good nutrition, good microorganisms, then that can help your gut heal properly. Now, when your gut is healed, automatically your microorganisms or your cells will start functioning properly, and automatically your digestion will improve, and further on, your health will be improved. So it is, you have to be, we as citizens, we as people have to be cautious of what we are ingesting in our body.
But Ritika ji, keeping that aside, I was asking you specifically about the diet that we consume here, especially in India. Do you think, there's this saying that we consume a lot of carbs and very less protein. Do you think stuff like that also makes a lot of change? And if one has to really have a balanced diet, what are the changes do you suggest that people should make as far as the nutritional value of their meal is concerned?
See, absolutely. The protein intake is low in Indians specifically because most of us follow a vegetarian diet. But then also we need to understand that there is a lot many array of foods that are available that have protein. Now we mostly can have carbs. It is easily available. Packaged foods is easily available. So we just go grab that in have that, and all that thing has a very good load of sodium, have good load of cholesterol, have good load of fat. So that is ultimately getting accumulated in our cells. So that is blocking our heart, that is blocking our veins, and it is hampering our health to a very big extent. So what we need to understand is having a proper meal
Okay.
means that you need to have carbohydrate, protein, fats, your salads, your fruits, your nuts, your seeds, everything in a proper daily plan. Not exactly in one meal, but you need to divide all these things in your daily routine. Having protein, now it is said that zero point 0.8 gram per kg body weight you need to consume. Now you need to understand how is the bioavailability happening. So if you take 1 gram of protein, that doesn't mean that that 1 gram of protein will accumulate in your body. You need to understand that having carbs is the main source of energy. You need to have carbs, but then the amount of carbs has to be managed and have to be considered properly. So all these things have to be taken care of.
Absolutely. In fact, there's a lot more to discuss, and more importantly, about the genetic angle on this, how family history has such a massive, major, significant bearing on a person actually having heart attack. More on that, viewers. But before that, time for a short break. We'll be right back. We're talking about Bangladeshi cricketer Tamim Iqbal and the heart attack scare that he's had. And joining us, of course, are a panel of experts here. Rhitika Sharma, Dr. Samir Pagad, and Nikhil Chandwani continue to be on the broadcast with us. Dr. Samir, we were talking about the genetic angle of this. And again, I don't want to spread panic on the broadcast here by claiming that every single person who has a family history of heart attacks is definitely bound to get a heart attack. But in percentage terms, Dr. Samir, if you can help us understand what's the probability of a person with an immediate family member having a heart attack, what's the probability of that person also having a similar case in the future?
I'll explain firstly the genetic preponderance of a heart attack. Now, when you say that there is a family history of heart disease, it doesn't mean that anyone who has had a heart attack in your family will mean that you will also get a heart attack. We always talk about family history of premature coronary artery disease. So if somebody has got a heart attack at a young age, then that constitutes as a significant family history. If your father or grandfather has had a heart attack at the age of 70, that would not cause as a significant family history. Whereas if your family member has had a heart attack within the 50s, then that constitutes a significant family history. So when you have a young person having a heart attack or dying of a heart attack in your family, then those people need to be particularly careful. The percentage chances, there is no one figure where if your family member has had a heart attack, you will also get a heart attack. But it is very prudent that you become cautious, you test yourself more vigorously, you try and compensate your genetic preponderance by leading a much more healthy lifestyle, by being more conscious about your nutritional intent or your content. All of these modifiable risk factors should be modified even more aggressively in these patients.
Right. So clearly, there are risk factors that have to be identified, and of course, it is very important to be proactive, especially if you have an immediate family member with such history. And like Dr. Sameer said, it does not mean 100% chance of a heart attack, but again, it is better to be watchful. And Nikhil, the reality is that it's better to be watchful regardless of whether you have a family history or not. And the problem is the chances of a heart attack or any sort of a disease rise up even more, like you rightly pointed out, looking at all those crash diets and every other sort of fad that you see on social media. I mean, you see all of those diet charts and all of those tricks and tips to enhance muscles and body on social media. The reality is one size doesn't fit all. Everyone has one or the other underlying health related issue, and a particular type of a regime might suit someone else but could actually trigger some sort of a disease in you. So how do you actually keep a check on all of this, especially given the fact that in this social media driven world, influencers are almost like the new age doctors?
Absolutely, and this is where the society is collapsing. After COVID, a lot of people they are spending their time scrolling their Instagram feeds for 3 to 4 hours a day. Till 2 a.m., people are just scrolling helplessly and they are just trying to consume content. And on social media, get rich quickly schemes are everywhere. Get fit quickly, get rich quickly, get bulked up quickly. And these people are falling for these schemes. And that is why the health has gone for a toss. People are not taking their sleep seriously and they're not sleeping 8 hours a day, 7 hours a day because they are busy scrolling their Instagram feeds. And there needs to be a regulation which needs to be brought up because this is an addiction that nobody talks about. Social media is seemingly more addictive than smoking and drinking. And I'm seeing a lot of my friends, a lot of my colleagues, wherever I go for lectures, everybody is just busy on their phones. And this is something COVID has given us. Post-COVID world is right now, it's very difficult to see. And yeah, people need to realize that, and there needs to be some regulation. And self-regulation is again extremely important. People need to self-regulate. They need to limit their time on social media. They need to stop popping the supplements and the protein powders,
Absolutely.
which everybody is selling.
Absolutely. Nikhil, just a minute left on the broadcast. Ritika ji, if you quickly want to come in and any tips that you have for all the viewers watching right now, any particular fruits or some sort of a food that could, enhance heart health?
There is no such magic fruit or magic diet that can increase your heart health. But yes, a proper diet, having meals at every 2 hours, keeping your optimal water intake throughout the day, be hydrated, listen to your body signs, listen to what your body is saying, go for a walk, do a little bit of exercises, don't stay stagnant, don't sit idle for long hours, take in between breaks, do breathing techniques to improve your lungs, improve your heart, improve your muscles and your cells, and just listen to your body signs.
Absolutely. Ritika ji, really appreciate you joining us on the broadcast there. Rhitika Sharma, Dr. Sameer Pagar, and Nikhil Chandwani, really appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and, of course, sharing your insights. And again, at the end of the day, I think the bottom line here is that just because a person looks fit doesn't mean he's healthy. There's much more to fitness than just working out and having some sort of a physical exercise. And particularly, you need to be more watchful, like Dr. Sameer said, if you have a family history of a heart disease. And with that, viewers, it's a wrap on this edition of the broadcast. Lots more lined up on the other side. Stay tuned.